actually interesting that the Twitch stream...
It's come back on now.
Yeah, it is come back on. I'm not quite sure why the Twitch stream. It's not on my end that something happened.
Just Twitch being Twitch.
So welcome back after you've hopefully successfully reloaded this Twitch live stream. Adrian Lunio's leading from Pascal Jordan and Dominic Lala, even though the gap is yet to come down after Lunio is taking his pit stops. Straßenscheid and Buninger also still driving, of course, a bit further down the order, but finishing will grant you quite some decent points in this championship.
I always think people need giving extra props for... I mean, there's a fairly decent gap, shall we say, between 4th and 5th right now, and 5th and 6th, but they're carrying on driving, and I think that always needs a bit of applause, because they could quite easily call it quits and leave, but they're sticking in the race, they're carrying on lapping, and that's commendable.
I mean, those are also the people you have to watch out for in 1 or 2 years. Like, it show. Oh, and Straßenscheid hard into the wall there. But
yeah.
Just as we speak, maybe commentator curse even the bank markers now. But it shows persistency, and it shows that you are willing to go the extra mile to improve. And I mean, so it has been with quite a lot of names. I mean, Alizar here, when he was kind of nowhere. I remember especially the Monza RCL race. He was in a Porsche and he was okay, doing okay. He was quite far off the leaders, and now he's a household name in the community events. Already, always someone to reckon with for the victories and podiums, especially, and Lunio with a big drift here. So, same goes for Lunio in a way. Like, he also didn't start out being this quick.
No.
But they stayed in the races, they improved, they never really gave up. And I mean, look where they are now. And if we think about GT4s especially, these cars have brought them some genuine names to hang with. I mean, Dennis Heinze, anyone? Jeddah?
But yeah, you don't get quicker by quitting races. You get quicker by finishing races. I know it's not as simple as that, but I've always felt if you sign up for a race, you should finish it. And so I'm always willing to give some props to people who are doing the same.
Yeah, pretty much. I also can't really remember quitting races when I was more active. Since I always was like, yeah, I could quit now, but what does it help me? Like, you could always get a better result out of your race. There are always people who could quit before you. There are always people who could crash out, have the same problems you had. And with that, you gain positions, you help your safety rating, you help your race rating. So in every single race, it's the better option to stay in, unless, for example, your car is completely undrivable and you can't fix it. Yeah. Then I can understand it, but if it's just because you feel like you can't get anywhere, usually I'd say, not worth it, mate. Don't quit. Stay in there. Adrian Lunio going especially aggressive now into the Horizon chicane before now coming into the pits approximately. Indeed. So let's see. Pascal Jordan is now on the Döttinger Höhe. Adrian Nunez is simply
Going
refueling.
He is just refueled. He's going for a sketchy strategy there with the Audi. I thought with the gap he had, he might have put tyres on.
I think that would be quite a bit too much. Adrian Lunio is driving. Pascal John comes onto the start-finish straight. And out on the circuit the Frenchman goes. What will the gap be to Pascal Jordan at the end of the straight? It was, I think, 8 to 9 seconds before they went to the pits and 8 seconds now.
Yeah, so they must be fairly consistent or fairly similar as far as pace is concerned. It's all going to be down to whether or not Nuno has made enough of a gap to deal with the tyres later on in the race, I suppose.
And that is the big question mark. I mean, if my calculations are right, we have 3 laps including this one. 8.4 seconds isn't too much. But, I mean, we've seen both drivers do mistakes. But we've seen both drivers recovering in ways you couldn't even describe. Dominic Ladders is sitting there driving his laps and being overtaken just to regain that place a few corners later.
Yeah, nobody's been without incident, have they? It's been pretty hectic.
I mean, Dominic Lader pretty much. I mean, depends on how you see it, but his car per se wasn't involved in an incident, I'd say. Just
well,
again,
sorry, an off-track based like incident, more of a like car-to-car incident. But he's had it easiest of the 3, that's for sure, as far as wandering into the green stuff is concerned.
I mean, it just shows off how incredibly consistent Dominic Ladler is and always was.
Yeah. That's why I picked you, Ladler.
I mean, there are always people who compare drivers to real-world drivers. I think. And I mean, that's fairly easy to be done, I think. I think Dominic Ladler is more a Matt Kenseth kind of guy. He's so consistent that he's falling under the radar quite easily, but just casually winning a championship by doing so.
Yeah, true. He's got that long-term view. He's going for the big win overall. Just keep quietly bagging those points.
Even though, of course, we can't always be certain if he's actually caring about it. But with the way he drives, he certainly is doing a very good job. But Adrian Lunio and Pascal Jordan in this race, they are both definitely going for that victory. Adrian Lunio searching for a second victory. Pascal Jordan not only looking for his first victory in RFL, but his first official victory overall. But currently the gap is staying incredibly consistent. 8.5 seconds all the time.
Yeah, Adrian Luneau is maybe he's just put a bunch of fuel on board, but he's not hanging around. He's still posting purple sectors.
I mean, with the way the weight of the fuel is distributed on that Audi, it definitely helps you a lot to push and feel more comfortable in the car.
Yeah.
Since you have more weight on the rear axle. I remember on the different racing platform that I was on before RENNSPORT. Hello, Racing. I, of course, also was an Audi main. And at certain stages, I would actually prefer to drive qualifying on a higher fuel load. Because the car was way easier to tame and push. Of course, theoretically, you can go faster without, but if you only have one single lap, you want to have a safe one instead of just one that could be quick. Maybe the same is true for Adrian Lunio. And maybe it's the thing that helps him keep Pascal Jordan at bay at the moment.
Seems to be gapping him a little bit right now.
He's got a few tenths on the BMW.
He has got the dreaded Dottinger coming up, where that monstrous BMW will claw back a few tenths.
But what I just want to mention in terms of the bet with Joachim Thunder, all BMWs are still driving. Fabian Sassenscheid, of course, currently in the pits, but he's still in this race.
All the cars are still driving, so it can't get much more wrong right now.
Well, I shouldn't have said that too early.
I said right now. After Fabian's pitted, and him and Yvonne are close together, and as I say that, Yvonne spins. I'm sorry, Yvonne, that was entirely my fault.
Please send reclamation letters to Tim Ireland. For your info, he's not actually located in Ireland, which a certain Remco Major might want you to believe.
Or maybe I am, and it's just a double bluff. Oh, that was interesting. From Pascal Jordan there. He's really throwing that BMW around.
He's definitely not messing around as well, but currently Adrian Lunio simply has the upper hand.
Yeah, he's still pulling away.
I'm definitely hoping to see them all back again tomorrow. Not gonna lie.
In different car classes.
I mean, you can either go slightly different or way different. Your choice to make. Will actually be fairly interesting to see who goes for what. I mean, the GT3s are, of course, as usual, the most popular class. You can take it however you want, but they are the most popular. For good reason. But a hypercar, I mean, it's kind of a special class in a way. It's not something you would drive all day or typically, you know, it's a different chance you can take.
No, it's not a car I necessarily like to drive, although I'm also probably not good enough to drive it very well. But yeah, it's a special occasion car, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it, to me, works like a charm in multi-class.
Yeah.
I personally really like to drive hypercars. I'm typically not one who enjoys high downforce all too much. It can be fun, but like, you have to have a certain feel for it. Like, your brain has to work in a way that if you go faster, you can take turns faster. It's like exponential in terms of how it works in combination. And my brain can't get behind that all too good.
It's a very, very different car to drive for a GT3.
I think it's also something that is pretty hardwired in any driver. Because you have like the people who enjoy GT, touring, and cup car racing a lot more and stick to that, and then you have the ones who like to drive high downforce cars a lot more, like LMPs, F4, F3, F2, F1 of course, but
Yeah.
like you have those two general branches, then of course they go off in any direction, but the hypercar is kind of in the middle. If you drive touring cars, you can reach out to it. If you drive formula cars, you can reach out to it. It's a very well balanced car in that way, I'd say. Something that the predecessors, the LMP1 cars, which I absolutely love, don't get me wrong, but they didn't really have that. They were monsters. Like,
Yeah.
genuine monsters. A lot of fun, but super hard to drive. But still, Adrian Lunio is building a gap, and time is running out for Pascal Jordan. Actually a bit surprising if you ask me. So maybe he has overpushed it in combinations with the spins at Arenberg. I feel like he's also not as aggressive anymore as he was in the first stint.
Yeah, Adrian Luna seems to be just carrying on business as usual. Oh. Whereas the other two BMWs seem to have chilled out a little bit.
Well, the little ooh you heard from Tim was because there's a slight desync between
There
his
is, yeah.
version and mine. Can't guess who lives in Germany now. But, yeah, Lunio kind of smacking the wall there, entering Arnaud, but he didn't lose time at all. I mean,
No.
Pascal Jordan is now 14 seconds behind. And not because Adrian Lunio gained time with it or went faster in any way. His sector is actually deep red. But Jordan also messed up the entry to Arnaud.
Yeah, it's not NASCAR. You can't go faster by riding the walls.
I mean, even there, it's a very rare occasion that this would actually work. But I gotta say, I really love that move from Ross just saying. Was definitely one of the funniest and best things I've seen in the last 5 years of motorsports or something.
But yeah, I think Lunio must be thanking you every lap that damage is turned off in this race.
I mean, he's definitely not the only one who would struggle quite a bit at this stage. So you follow that Audi through the woods of the Nürburgring.
I'm sure at some point in the future we'll inflict damage on the Nürburgring races upon you all.
Is that a threat?
Yes.
Okay. You heard it here first on the RENNSPORT_GG Twitch broadcast.
But for right now, Lino is being very, very kind to you all and saying the Nürburgring is hard enough without damage.
until this point you have to be satisfied with emotional damage to inflict on people. Has the times to effectiveness a multiplier applied to it though. So that aggressive downshift coming up to Huacht, I always love that. I mean, the magic with the Nordschleife is it's not handcrafted in a way that it's done like modern circuits, which are designed to be good, even though they not always are. But
yeah,
modern circuits, they are designed with the racing line in mind. With the Nürburgring, they laid some tarmac onto some hills and said race on it, and where the racing line just forged through them like a river does on the landscape.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure it changes over time depending on the cars that are driving it and the technology of the machinery involved.
Yeah, pretty much. And that makes the Nordschleife so unique and so great, I'd say. I mean, it's the case with many classic tracks. Many point to the fact that they are just put into the nature. Like, they follow what was given. They don't create new hills and in general new landscapes to make sense.
Yeah.
They are just put in and work with what they had, which was of course a big issue for Spas or Rouge. I mean, they wanted to rework it for years, but how do you rework a corner where on one end you have a steep incline in terms of a brick wall or a stone wall, and on the other side you have a cliff going down at a degree like 50 or something. But
yeah.
So actually kind of cool that they managed to pull it off and have moto races and all that kind of stuff now there. But with the Nordschleife, it's very unique and special in pretty much every way, because it's built so different and you can't recreate it anywhere else. I mean, it was a product of its time. It wasn't really built for racing in the first place, if you think about it.
No. Pascal Jordan, has he had another incident? Because he seems to have dropped back even further now.
Must have had. I mean, the gap has increased so much that...
Yeah.
And I'm afraid not everybody is going to finish this race, even though Adrian Lunier has just entered the final lap. Because Yvonne Wooning has unfortunately DNF'd just this lap. But it's not a BMW, so... The thing with the Nordschleife is that it was built just to give people jobs for a certain amount of time. And
yeah.
I mean, of course, the plan was to build a racetrack, but it wasn't built to really be... I don't know how to really explain it. It was built out of desperation. And they just did what they could just to give people jobs.
And accidentally made one of the most famous racetracks.
Yeah, I mean, back then I think it was kind of a normal racetrack. Probably even a bit more premium because it wasn't just held on regular streets like Spa, for example, did. Or Le Mans, but... Yeah, with the Nordschleife, they created something that has now lasted for way too many years compared to other tracks. On top level of motorsports. I mean, the only other tracks that really come to mind with this age being still fairly close to how they started out. I mean, Spa is a completely different track nowadays than what it was when it started out. Of course, Rouge is still there, you could argue with that, but apart from that, it's Indianapolis and Le Mans, I'd say. Of course, there
Yeah.
are some other tracks here and there, but Daytona is also fairly old now compared to and Adrian Rooney, actually, with another mistake. And Pascal Jordan has dropped down behind Dominic Ladler.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Ladler seems to have got past Jordan. I wonder if he's suffering a bit of tire death.
Maybe he went to the pits. I'm not quite sure on that front. You'd think so with the fuel he has now, but...
Yeah. Yeah, he's got... Both Ladler and Jordan have got a lot of fuel left in the tank.
Might also explain the kind of drop-off. And Lunio. In Ironberg. Ironberg is really something that catches a lot of people out today, but...
Giving you a close-up of the Audi's roof there.
Pretty much not really what anybody asked for, I guess, but... I mean, he has to watch out. Of course, he has 50 seconds to Dominic Ladler, but if he keeps doing it like that, it's still, I guess, 15 kilometers he has to do on this lap. Probably more, 16 or 18, but can't keep doing this or he will lose that P1 on the final lap.
Dominic Ladler is probably wishing you had turned damage on.
At this stage, probably, yes.
He's just kept it clean, stayed on the tarmac.
I mean, it has gained him in place now, again.
Yeah.
But also look at the timing drop from Dominic Ladler to Lunio.
Yeah, he's gained a lot of time there. There's a lot of time left in the gap that he doesn't have to worry about particularly. He can make a few mistakes and get away with it. But it won't have done his... Although there's no damage on it, won't have done his tyres much good for Adrian Luneau. So he's going to have to take it a bit careful for a while until they cool down.
The question is also, can Jordan maybe get back into shape? 3 seconds to Dominic Ladler. He can overcome this gap, but will he be able to follow Dominic Ladler without doing any mistakes?
Yeah. Yeah, if he can hold on until the Dottinger Hohe, then he's got a fairly decent chance of... Well, if he can catch up and stay behind Dominic Ladler until Dottinger Hohe, then it'll make it an interesting last couple of corners. As long as he can stay on the tarmac.
As Adrian Luneau is challenging the, well, could say big climb up the hill to Kesselchen. RENNSPORT was really the first game where I personally could really see and feel the incline. I mean, I know how it is in real life.
I don't. I've never been there.
Yeah, but it's it's really crazily steep. If you have a lower horsepower car, so say something like 140, 150, or 90 horsepower Golf 4. I don't have a Golf 4, but I know somebody who does. That climb is really agonizingly long. But once you reach this part of the track, Hohe 8, it becomes so much fun. You just drop down, drop down, drop down.
It's one of the good things with it being such a long track. You can have such drastic changes in elevation. We all love a track with elevation changes. So it's good to have these kind of oddball tracks where they can really go out there and do massive hills that just go on forever, but it makes the bottom few corners so important.
I mean, it's 290 meters in height difference. Oh, and Lunio again with big drift.
He's really putting his tires through the paces today, isn't he?
Just trying to find a building for comparison, like they always do in those Instagram reels and stuff. But,
Pascal Jordan now only 1.3 seconds behind Dominic Ladler, so he's. I think this one could go all the way to the wire.
There's Dominic Ladler being chased down by Pascal Jordan, that's for sure. But I think Lunio should have it.
Is Fabian going to slow down and let Adrian Lunio go past him? Or is he going to go for the extra lap?
Seems like he's going for the extra lap.
It does seem to be. Yep, he's fully on the throttle down Dottinger. He was not letting up.
I think the gap is a bit too big for Pascal Jordan, unless he can get the best exit in existence here.
Dominic Ladler pulled out another couple of tenths just coming up to the mini carousel.
Just like he did before in this race.
Just like he did before.
But Adrian Lunio out of the final turn to become a two-time RENNSPORT Founders League winner. Congratulations to him. Coming across the line, dragging his Audi across the line, rather said. And Dominic Ladler, I think, unless he messes up real bad now.
Don't say it. He's so close to the finish of the race. Don't say it now.
Have you ever commentator cursed Dominic Ladler?
I think we have.
Oh, and I don't know how that works, but seems like it worked on Pascal Jordan. But Dominic Ladler comes home in second. But I mean, Pascal Jordan, of course, he's gonna finish third now, but
yeah,
I'm still mighty impressed by the first half of his race and qualifying.
His pace was impressive. There's no denying that. He didn't quite have Ladler-like consistency, obviously, because he came behind him. But yeah, his individual lap pace, you can see his best lap time is 4 seconds faster than Dominic Ladler. It's a second faster than Adrian Lunio. So on pure pace, he has it. He just wasn't able to keep it on the grey stuff long enough.
Yeah, I mean, especially like those comebacks from those issues at Arenberg. Building a gap of 8 seconds to Lunio and Ladler in the first lap.
Yeah.
I hope we will see him back tomorrow, next week, pretty much every official race. Because that was fantastic racing we've seen by him.
It was good racing.
But ultimately it's Adrian Lunio who took victory and Dominic Ladler who came in second. And Dennis Corsa, now through Galgenkopf, will come home in fourth. Not quite sure if it was the race he hoped for.
No, I think he was probably hoping to be battling a bit more with the top three, but he's finished the race, which means a lot to us in the cast, and it'll bag him a decent handful of points.
Maybe next car in the series will suit him a bit more. Of course, in 2 weeks we will be back with the Praga I think that will be a very interesting one.
Yeah, that's a wild card pick. Ooh, that was close.
Managed to get.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what the Praga does here.
So yeah, make sure not to miss that one. But also, of course, make sure not to miss tomorrow's race. I mean, I think it might be one of the most interesting races we've had in quite a while.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a fun race.
It will certainly be different with the multi-class aspect. What was the last multi-class we had? Let me try to think. I should know because I usually organize those races, but I have the memory of a goldfish. So let me just have a quick look at the last broadcast.
Was it Daytona?
Could have been Daytona. GT3 and Hypercars.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the mission R, of course, last time around. Before that we had GT4, before that we had Praga, before that we had GT3. It was quite a while ago, actually. GT3X and GT4 actually was...
Oh, right, yes, of course.
As far as I can see, at least. It was quite some time ago, indeed. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Oh, we have GTX and GT4 at Nürburgring running as one of our multi-class races right now.
Indeed, of course. If you want to jump in multi-class, you can always do that in the feature series races. As you can see, currently Nürburgring GT3X, GT4 and Spa for Hypercar GT3. So, yeah. What do you have to say about today's race? How do you want to rack it up?
It was an exciting race. I think there was a bunch of crazy shenanigans going on with some interesting meetings with the wall, but and I think Dominic Ladler's consistency paid off with his second place. For for pure pace, Adrian Lenoir and oh man, I've immediately forgotten his name.
Who exactly do you mean, John?
The guy who came third.
John.
Yeah, John. Well,
also a memory of a goldfish.
Yeah. I'm getting old. Yeah, his pace was impressive, and I think a little bit more consistency tweaking, maybe cool it a little bit in a few corners, concentrate on getting around the lap, and there can be some super close racing going on.
I can only agree on this. It's been very interesting to watch in many ways. I mean, especially if you take a look at the number of cars he had on track. It really shows quality over quantity. But with all that said, it's time to say goodbye for tonight. But remember, tomorrow we will be back at Road Atlanta. Until then, have a great time. Let us know in the Discord if you have any more questions. And goodbye.
Goodbye.